Hello, my name's Ian Deary. I'm a professor at the University of Edinburgh and I'm director of the 6-Day Sample project. What I want to do now is introduce you to it, thank you for taking part in it, and take you through some of the stuff that you've just received in the box. The 6-Day Sample study, sometimes called the Scotland in Miniature, it all started back in 1947 when Scotland did something that no country has ever done before. It tested its entire nation on a mental test. That is, almost everybody born in 1936, like yourselves, was tested on the same mental test on the same morning of the 4th of June 1947. It took 45 minutes, and at the end of that, Scotland had tested its entire nation on this mental test. What are we doing now? Well, what we're trying to do now is follow up that study, which was called the Scottish Mental Survey of 1947. It was conducted by the Scottish Council for Research and Education, and we are working with them. We've been funded by the research councils in the United Kingdom to follow it up and conduct a study of how people are doing in their life, their health, and how they're thinking, and we'd like you to take part. You'll find in the box many things to do, including this DVD, which will take you through how to do some measurements on yourself. But first, let me explain something about the survey. The Scottish Mental Survey of 1947 tested 70,805 children. It's a huge sample, and as I say, it was all done on one day on the same mental test. But even more special were some of the boys and girls that were given more testing, like yourselves. The people that were born on the first days of each month, the 1st, the 2nd and the 3rd, had the schools complete extra information about them. And even more special are the people born of the first day of the even-numbered months, the 1st of February, April, June, August, October and December. Those people conducted individual interviews until they were about 27. You might remember this, somebody calling at your home when you were younger, or your parents might remember it when they were called when they were younger too. This was called the 6-Day Sample. The 6-Day Sample, people born on the first day of the even-numbered months. And for the people born on the first 3 days of each month, it was called the 36-Day Sample. Both samples are very, very special. We have very, very rarely the chance to have all that information from people when they were younger, and then to relate that to how they're doing when they've grown older. This is especially important these days. There are so many older people, and we try and understand why some people are much healthier than others when they're older, and why some people are thinking stronger when they're older as well. So we'd like you to take part by completing some of the questionnaires here, by doing some of the measurements that we're asking you to do, and by allowing that you can be contacted by one of my researchers who will try and follow up with some more information. Now I want to introduce you to the rest of the DVD. It's going to show you how to do some of the physical measurements, and in it you'll see somebody about the same age as yourself being instructed by Miss Caroline Brett. She's my researcher who's helped me put together some of these materials, and again she will be showing this person how to do the measurements, and we hope you'll do them too. And finally, let me thank you for looking through the box and thinking about taking part in this incredible study. Again, there's nowhere else in the world except for Scotland that we can do such a study. You're a very special person. Only you has information like this across your life course. And I'd be very, very grateful, and so would my research team, if you'd take part in the Scottish Mental Survey follow-up, the 6-Day Sample, Scotland in Miniature.
I'm now going to take you through the physical tests that we'd like you to complete as part of this follow-up study. These tests will give us an idea of your physical health at the moment. The tests are quite simple, but it is important that you pay attention to the instructions and follow them as best you can. This will make sure that everyone taking part in the study is doing the same thing. You will find everything you need to complete the physical testing in the box. You might find it helpful to have a look through the box before you begin and familiarise yourself with its contents. Part of the kit is the questionnaire, which we are asking you to complete and return to us. Please now turn to page 33 of the questionnaire booklet. This is where you will enter the results of this home testing portion of the study. We suggest that you wear loose-fitting clothes while completing these tests. You might like to ask a friend, neighbour or relative to help you with the testing, as some parts may be difficult to do on your own. Please complete the tests at your own pace. There is no need to complete them all in one sitting. Indeed, some of the samples that we will be asking you to provide later need to be taken at different parts of the day. If you need any help from us in completing the tests, please get in touch with us on the number shown on the screen. We will be happy to help answer any questions you may have. We would like you to complete as many of the tests as possible, but if you have any difficulties with a particular test, then feel free to miss it out and move on to the next one. The first test is an easy one. We are asking you for your height. You may already know what your height is. However, if you haven't measured your height recently, we will show you a straightforward way to do this at home. You will need the measuring tape, pencil and the cardboard box. You might like to ask someone to assist you. First of all, remove your shoes and any hats or hairpieces. Next, find a wall with no picture frames or other objects on it that could fall off and injure you. You may find it easier to stand close to a straight edge such as a door frame. Stand with your back against the wall and your feet together. You should be standing so that the back of your feet, buttocks, shoulders and the back of your head are touching the wall or as close as possible. Do not slump, bend your knees or stretch your body upwards. Look straight ahead and raise the cardboard box above your head. Push it against the wall and bring it down so that it is touching the top of your head. The box needs to be horizontal and not tilted in any way, which is why it might be easier if someone else does this for you. Once the box is straight, slide out carefully from underneath it, holding it firmly in place all the while. Mark the wall with the pencil just below the box. Hold or fix the end of the tape measure next to the pencil mark. Then let the measuring tape fall down to the floor. Make sure that the tape is flat against the wall and not at a jaunty angle. Instead, it should be nice and straight. Note the distance from the pencil mark to the floor and write this total on the questionnaire in the space marked height. Please remember to tell us whether this total is in centimetres or inches. Next, we would like you to give us a measure of your weight. If you have your own scales, we would like you to use these. If you do not have your own scales, either try and borrow some from a friend or neighbour, ask your GP to weigh you on your next visit, or give us an estimate of your weight. Our weight changes throughout the day. The best time to measure your weight is in the morning. To measure your weight yourself, please remove your shoes and any outer clothing such as jackets or sweaters. Okay. Step onto the scales and stand with your feet spaced evenly apart. Write down the measurement in the space provided, letting us know whether this is in kilograms, pounds, or stone and pounds. We would also like you to tell us the make and model of the scales used, if possible. We'd now like you to make some measurements of a few different parts of your body. It can be difficult to do this on your own, so again, ask a friend or relative to help you. Or, if you would prefer to do this yourself, please just do the best that you can. To make these measurements, you will need to wear light clothing that won't get in the way of the tape measure. First, we will start with the waist. To measure your waist, place the tape measure over bare skin or thin clothing around the narrowest part of your middle. For men, this is usually around about the level of the belly button. For women, this is often an inch or two above the belly button. The tape should be held horizontally if possible and should not be pulled too tight. It should be resting on your skin or clothing and not pushing it in. Make sure you are relaxed and not deliberately holding yourself in or out or holding your breath. Make a note of your waist measurement to the nearest 1/10 of a centimetre or 1/10 of an inch and write it down in the space provided. Now to the hips. To measure your hips, place the tape measure around the widest part of your buttocks. Again, make sure the tape measure is horizontal. If you are measuring over outer clothes, such as trousers or a skirt, make sure the tape measure is snug against the fabric, but without being pulled too tight. Once again, write down the measurement to the nearest 1/10 of a centimetre or 1/10 of an inch. Next, we'd like you to measure your calf. This will be easier to do if you are sitting down. Please measure the calf of your dominant or strongest leg. That is, the one you might use to kick a ball with. First of all, roll up your trouser leg or raise your skirt. Women don't need to worry about removing tights or stockings. Place the tape measure around the widest part of your calf muscle. This is usually around 4 inches below the knee. If you are doing this measurement yourself, you might find it helpful to use a floor-length mirror to make sure you are measuring the right place. As before, try and make sure the tape measure is horizontal and write down the measurement in the space provided. Next, we'd like you to measure the length of your leg from the bottom of your foot to the top of your knee. You will need to be seated for this, with your feet flat on the floor and your knee at a right angle. Again, remember to remove your shoes if you're wearing them. If your knee is not bent at a right angle, you won't get the correct measurement. Make sure your heels are not raised, but that your feet are flat on the floor. Measure from the bottom of your heel, straight up the back of your leg to the top of your knee. Write down the measurement to the nearest 1/10 of a centimetre or 1/10 of an inch in the space provided in the questionnaire. Please now make sure to tell us for all of these measurements, that is your waist, hips, calf and leg, whether you recorded these in centimetres or inches. For this part of the physical testing, we would like to know how long you are able to stand on one leg without support. We strongly advise that you do not attempt this unless there is somebody else present, or if you have been advised by a health professional that you have problems with your balance. You might want to try standing on one leg without support a couple of times before trying this test. If you feel you are unable to complete the test safely, please move on to the next part and write "unable" in the space provided on the questionnaire. To do this test, you will need to use the second timer provided in the box. To get the timer working for the first time, remove the clear piece of plastic like this. Now, stand up straight on a flat floor. You might want to stand near a wall, or a piece of furniture, or another person, in case you lose your balance. Try and make sure someone is nearby at all times when you complete this test. If nothing else, they can help with the timer. Looking straight ahead, slowly raise your left leg clearly off the floor without letting it touch the other leg. You may find it helpful to use your arms to keep your balance. This is fine as long as you don't then hold on to anything. Again, make sure there is an object there to catch your fall. Make sure you're in a strong standing position before raising your leg, and try to stand on one leg for as long as you can. Once your leg is off the floor and you feel balanced, start the timer or ask your companion to start the timer by pressing the Start/Stop button. Stop the timer as soon as you start to lose your balance or after 30 seconds, whichever is sooner. Write down the number of seconds showing on the timer in the space provided. It is rare to be able to keep your balance for the full 30 seconds, so don't worry if you aren't able to do so. If you can, please complete this test for both legs and write the times in the spaces provided in the questionnaire. Next, we would like you to test how strong your arm is by doing something called elbow flexions. It is unlikely that you will have done these before, so please watch the demonstration carefully. For this test, we recommend that you use the arm that you feel is the strongest. This may belong to the hand that you write with, or it may not. You will need the yellow TheraBand, which you will find in the box, and the second timer you just used for the leg stands. The TheraBand is an exercise band made of latex that is used to help strengthen muscles. If you know that you are allergic to latex, or if you develop any symptoms such as redness, itchiness or swelling during the test that might suggest you are allergic to latex, please stop immediately and wash your hands thoroughly before moving on to the next part of testing. To do this task, first grasp the end of the TheraBand in your hand. Wrap the TheraBand once around your wrist and then grasp it again. Make sure that you have a tight hold on the band. Straighten your arm down by your side and allow the TheraBand to trail on the floor. Using the foot on the same side of your body as the arm holding the TheraBand, step onto the band at the point where it is at a right angle to the floor. Make sure that there is no slack in the band, but at the same time that it is not pulled too tight. Still holding on to the TheraBand, bend your elbow upwards until your hand is level with your shoulder and the TheraBand is stretched. You should feel that some effort is required to do this. If you don't, it is likely that there is too much slack in the band and you will need to move your foot to reduce this. Straighten your arm again so that your hand is once more by your side. You have now completed one elbow flexion. Feel free to take a moment now to do this again so that you are familiar with the movement, but don't do so many that your arm becomes tired. We would now like you to repeat this movement as many times as you can in 20 seconds. Using the timer, first press the S button, that is the middle button, until the display reads 20 seconds. Then, press the Start-Stop button on the right-hand side. It might be easier if someone else starts and holds the timer for you while you do this test. Start repeating the up-down movement of the elbow flexion as fast as you are able. Make sure that you count how many you are able to complete before the counter alarm goes off. Write down how many elbow flexions you were able to complete in the 20 seconds in the space provided. For this next part, we would like you to measure your breathing. First of all, unpack the peak flow meter, which you will find in the box. Those of you with asthma or other respiratory problems may be already familiar with this device. It provides a measure of the rate at which you are able to blow air out of your lungs. First, make sure that the red pointer is set to L/min at the bottom of the scale. You may have to move it down with your finger. Stand up straight and hold the meter horizontally near to your mouth. Be careful to make sure that your fingers are not covering the scale or the holes at the end of the meter. Take a deep breath and place the meter into your mouth, making sure that your lips are completely round the mouthpiece. Blow as hard and as fast as you can, just once, as if you were blowing out a candle. The pointer should move up the scale and stay there. If it does not, double check that your fingers aren't in the way and try again. It is a good idea to try a few practice blows if you are able before starting the test, as it can take a few goes to perfect the technique. Taking care not to touch the pointer, note down the number indicated by the pointer in the space provided on the questionnaire. Repeat this process 2 more times so that you end up with 3 readings. Make sure that you move the pointer back to the L/min position after each breath.
320.
Again, please write down your 3 readings from the peak flow meter in the space on the questionnaire marked Peak Expiratory Flow. Finally, I'm going to talk you through providing some saliva samples for the study. We are asking you for 4 samples in total. These are for genetic and hormone testing. The results from these samples will only ever be presented for the 6-day sample study group as a whole, and will not be available at an individual level. No one, not even your GP, will ever see your results from these sample tests. For the first saliva sample, which is for genetic testing, you will need the Origin kit. You will find this in your pack inside the padded envelope. It consists of a rectangular plastic container. Carefully open the container and remove the plastic tube inside. You will see on it an opening at the top and a funnel, and a black horizontal fill line with arrows pointing to it. Spit into the funnel like this, until the amount of liquid saliva reaches the fill line. This should not take you more than a few minutes, but if you have difficulty, don't worry and simply take your time. If you know you have difficulties in producing saliva, please get in touch with the study team and we can provide you with a special kit. Once you have filled the tube up to the fill line, hold the tube upright with one hand and close the funnel lid with the other hand, making sure you push firmly on the lid until you hear a loud click. By doing this, liquid from the lid is released into the tube to mix with your sample. You will notice that the funnel lid is released again. Go back to the plastic container and locate the small cap which you will find inside. Now, making sure that the tube is held upright, carefully unscrew the entire funnel from the tube. Finally, screw the small cap onto the tube, making sure that it is tightly closed. Shake this capped tube for at least 5 seconds. Throw the funnel away and keep your sample tube in a safe place until you have completed the next test. For the second part of the saliva sampling, we are asking you to provide 3 samples over the course of a day. These will measure hormone levels, which change from morning to night. You'll be pleased to know that these samples should be easier to take as they involve simply chewing on a cotton swab. As they all need to be taken on the same day, starting first thing in the morning, you might want to save this part of the testing for another day. You will need the 3 small tubes marked Salivette, which you will find in the padded envelope within your pack. These tubes should be clearly marked 1, 2 and 3. We would like you to give us the first sample as soon as you wake up in the morning, before you've had your morning coffee or tea or brushed your teeth. To take this first sample, find the tube marked 1 and pull on the blue top of it. This will remove the smaller tube inside, which you will see contains the white cotton swab. Remove the lid from this smaller tube, take out the swab and place it in your mouth. Chew gently on the swab for around 60 seconds, getting it as moist as possible. You might want to time this using a watch with a second hand or with the timer provided in your pack. After 60 seconds, put the swab back in the smaller tube and place the smaller tube back inside the larger tube. Push the cap back down firmly. Check the time and note it down in the space provided in the questionnaire. The second sample should be taken around 45 minutes after the first. Using the tube marked number 2, do the same as with number 1. That is, remove the swab, place it in your mouth, chew for 60 seconds and then place it back in the correct tube and firmly close. The third sample should be taken on the same day but at around 10 o'clock at night. Use the tube marked number 3 and repeat the swab test in exactly the same way as you did for the other 2. Remember to write down exactly what time you did this.
47.
Please try and stick to the 3 times if you possibly can, but don't worry if you're not able to. Just make sure you note down what time you do manage to take the samples. If you have a busy day planned, you might want to set a reminder for yourself or ask a friend, relative or neighbour to remind you. We would like you to send us the 4 samples using the padded envelope. First, make sure that all 4 tubes have a sticker on. It is important that at least one of the tubes has a sticker on, as this will tell the laboratory what study the samples belong to and will allow us to link the samples with the other information you give us. Place the Origine tube and the 3 smaller Salivette tubes into the plastic bag provided in your pack and place this bag into the padded envelope. Then, find the yellow luggage tag in your pack and write the date in the space provided. This will give us an idea of how long the samples took to arrive at the laboratory. Finally, seal the envelope and post it back. Please try and post the envelope as soon as you can after providing the samples. You have now completed the physical testing portion of the 6-day sample study. If you have not already done so, please fill in the study questionnaire. In total, the questionnaire should take you around 2 to 3 hours to complete. We do not expect you to fill it all in one go, and we'd encourage you to take it at your own pace, to take breaks, and then come back to it. The questionnaire is split into 3 sections: on your family, education, job and children, your health, and your personality, emotions and outlook. In this final section, there are no right or wrong answers. Please answer all the questions even if you are not sure. Often, the first response that pops into your head is the best one. Towards the end of the questionnaire, we ask you to find someone who knows you well to answer some questions about you. Please pass the questionnaire over to them to complete this page themselves, and then ask them to pass the questionnaire back to you once they have finished answering these questions. On the final page of the questionnaire is a consent form. It is very important that you read this carefully and initial every statement that you agree with, and then sign and date at the bottom of the form. This form will be removed from the questionnaire so that your responses are kept anonymous. We would also like to write to your GP to tell them that you are taking part in this study. We'd be grateful if you could provide their details on the back page of the questionnaire before you return it to us. Finally, once you have finished, please go back through the questionnaire and make sure you have answered all the questions. It is very easy to miss 1 or 2 or even more. If you have any problems or questions at all about the questionnaire, please get in touch with the study team using the phone number shown on the screen. Now that you have completed the questionnaire and all of the physical tests, we need to know who you are so that we can keep in touch with you about the study. In your pack, you will find a reply slip and a small white envelope. Please complete this reply slip with your contact details, including your date of birth, your maiden name for women, and the schools you attended. This will help us to link the information you have given us with the information from the original 6-day sample study. If you are agreeing to take part in the study, the next part will be a short interview over the telephone, when you will speak with a member of our study team. They will ask you some more questions about your health and about your memory and thinking skills. This telephone interview should last around 30 minutes, certainly a lot shorter time than the questionnaire. If you are happy to take part in this, please provide your telephone number and give us an idea of which days of the week are generally better for you. We will then contact you to arrange the interview at a convenient time. Once you have completed and checked the questionnaire, please return it to us using the large brown envelope in your pack. Please make sure you also return the reply slip. The best way to do this is to return it in the envelope along with the questionnaire. If for any reason you have decided not to take part in this study or not to complete the questionnaire, we would be very grateful if you could send the reply slip back to us in the small white envelope provided. We will then know not to expect to receive anything further from you. Thank you for watching this demonstration DVD. We hope that you enjoy taking part in the study. We are very grateful for any information that you are able to give us. If you have any further questions about these tests or about the study in general, please give us a call on the number shown on the screen.